go, look. I'm going to go with Benavidez because I think Benavidez is special, bro. I think he's special. I think he has what's internal needed to be, and he can pull it off, bro. You know, he has that little fat boy still in him, my boy. Hey, that little fat boy still in him, boy. Hey, that motherfucker, boy, woo!
Most of his training is at that weight.
Yeah, over 200, really. Over 200,
exactly.
Really. Yeah.
Most of his training is at that weight. How could he possibly not carry it? How could he do all of his training pretty much at that weight? So how could he, exactly, so how could he not be the same guy?
Sometimes, man. That's like that with everybody.
Not for him.
Everybody cutting
Not for him. Yeah, but not for him. He's cutting differently.
Well, we're going to see.
The whole time.
We're going to see.
Okay.
I mean, you got to look at it like this. And he's going to beat Zurdo. He wanted Zurdo a long time ago, and I think he's going to beat Zurdo.
He's got the age advantage. He's younger. He's 29 years old. He's got less miles.
That's the big thing.
Right?
Yep.
He has never been beaten. So anytime you've been knocked down or beat, that you wear that. That's a scar you got to wear. He don't have that scar going into this fight.
None.
But Zurdo does. I think it's going to be a great fight that I give David Benavidez a slight edge to. Right? This is a 60-40 situation for me. Maybe a little bit more in his favor. Maybe 65-35, but that's just because he hasn't lost. We haven't seen that blueprint. And even if guys have good rounds, they don't have good fights against him. Ultimately, they wear down mentally, physically, emotionally, and David Benavidez takes over, and he ultimately stops guys or beats them up and gets his hand raised. Will that happen again against two-time cruiserweight champion Zurdo Ramirez?
Boxing legends have finally delivered their predictions for the explosive showdown between David Benavidez and Zurdo Ramirez. Roy Jones Jr. favors Benavidez to beat Ramirez, saying their sparring sessions revealed a weakness that Benavidez could use to take control of the fight.
Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez.
That's a good fight. I can't wait to see that. I think Benavidez definitely beats Zurdo.
He fought with him, so you know it. I never fought with Ruiz. On no reason. He fought, so he know what he's dealing with. So, I mean, I think he's dealing with him anyway, but he know what he's dealing with. You understand? So if he know what he's dealing with, of course I won't blame him. I go get it to him. I know him. I know what he is. I know what it takes to beat him. I sparred him before I know what it takes to beat him. And he's doing the right thing. So easy picking for him. Go get that.
Tim Bradley cautions fans against underestimating Zurdo Ramirez at cruiserweight and raises doubts about how Benavidez will adapt after moving up in weight.
I think Ramirez is kind of getting slept on. You got to understand that he's been at this weight for some time now. He's acclimated. This is David's first fight, man, at cruiserweight, bro. Like, it's going to be different. I mean, I know he has the right style to give Ramirez fits. If he can still have the punch volume that he punches with and some hand speed, I think his mobility is going to be a little bit different too. I mean,
25 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of weight, man. So, I just worry about that, to be honest with you. But, I mean, Benavidez does have the style. I believe that it give Ramirez some issues. But stamina, you got to think about that. You got to think about it. Would power translate at that heavier weight? I mean, there's a lot to think about, in this fight. A lot of questions that need to be answered.
Even with his doubts, Tim Bradley leans toward David Benavidez, praising his aggressive pressure and fighting spirit, and expects him to hurt Zurdo Ramirez even if a stoppage doesn't come.
I'm going to go, look. I'm going to go with Benavidez because I think Benavidez is special, bro. I think he's special. I think he has what's internal needed to be, and he can pull it off, bro. He has that little fat boy still in him, my boy. Hey, that little fat boy still in him, boy. Hey, that motherfucker, boy, woo! Hey, he gonna bring it out. He got that dog in him, bro, and I think he gonna take Ramirez to that brink, bro. I don't think he gonna stop him, but I know he gonna put some work in.
Ryan Garcia predicts a knockout win for David Benavidez over Zurdo Ramirez and suggests the fight could end around round 7 as pressure and volume take over.
Oh, for my prediction, David's gonna knock him out. David gonna sleep him. I think David stops him within 7 rounds. For sure, yeah.
As fans rally behind him, Benavidez insists he is coming for a knockout, aiming to test Zurdo Ramirez's heart and take his championship belt.
I would love to get a knockout. Sometimes, it's hard to get knockouts, but what I will say is I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna test his chin, I'm gonna test his body, and like I said, I'm gonna test his soul every single round. I don't wanna go in there and just have a regular fight. I wanna go in there and I wanna take that title, the face of boxing. I tend to going in there and trying to knocking him out, but I gotta follow behind the game plan. But if the game plan is executed perfectly, he will get knocked out.
Benavidez's ambitions stretch even further ahead, with Eddie Hearn revealing talks are underway for a potential clash with Bivol, while also backing him to beat Zurdo Ramirez.
I like Benavidez. I think he genuinely wants to take on the best fighters in the world. And I think Benavidez-Bivol was a great fight. We've got this kind of loose obligation with the Beterbiev 3 fight, which if it's called upon, we have to take it. But if it's not, Benavidez is absolutely the fight. I mean, I think it's a brilliant fight. I think it's 2 pound for pound, guys. I do think you're right. I think Benavidez will beat Ramirez. And if that's the case, you know, should Dimitri come through on May 30th, which we expect him to do, why not make the Benavidez fight?
Andre Ward and Roy Jones Jr. have both weighed in on the matchup, explaining why David Benavidez could potentially break down Zurdo Ramirez over the course of the fight. Ward's main concern is how Benavidez will handle the jump to cruiserweight and whether the added size will affect his performance. However, Roy Jones Jr. completely disagrees, saying the move up in weight should not slow him down and he is built to handle the challenge.
How's he gonna carry that weight? Is the volume gonna be the way that it was previously at super middleweight, light heavyweight, and is the conditioning gonna be there? If it is, he's go ahead, talk to me.
Most of his training is at that weight.
Yeah, over 200, really. Over 200,
exactly.
Really. Yeah.
Most of his training is at that weight. How could he possibly not carry it? How could he do all of his training pretty much at that weight? So how could he, exactly, so how could he not be the same guy?
Sometimes, man, that's like that with everybody.
Not for him.
Everybody cutting
Not
up.
for him. Yeah, but not for him. He's cutting differently.
Well,
He's been a big guy the whole time.
We gonna see.
Okay.
Right?
If you ever see him outside of a fight, you understand that this is nothing for him.
At the same time, Andre Ward warns against underestimating Zurdo Ramirez, highlighting his experience as a 3-time world champion. However, he still feels David Benavidez holds the edge in this matchup due to his unbeaten record and proven durability, especially his ability to stay on his feet and avoid being knocked down under pressure.
So
I'm guessing, but he might get 210, 215 or something like that, maybe even more. He just got a big frame.
I think he gets bigger.
Yeah, he got a big frame. So this may be the sweet spot for him. This may be just where he needs to be. But he's got the age advantage. He's younger. He's 29 years old. He's got less miles.
That's the big thing.
Right?
Yep.
He has never been beaten. So anytime you've been knocked down or beat, that you wear that. That's a scar you got to wear. He don't have that scar going into this fight.
None.
But Zurdo does. I like Zurdo's style. He's tall, he's rangy, and he's steady and consistent. He's got good punch selection. He's got good pop. I mean, he's a 3-time world champion for a reason.
Andre Ward highlights that Zurdo Ramirez's steady pressure style could allow him to survive and respond in tough exchanges, even when under heavy attack. At the same time, he questions how David Benavidez will cope with stepping up in weight, especially against a seasoned 3-time world champion. Despite Benavidez's clear strengths in speed, power, and aggression, Ward suggests that the physical jump could test his timing, endurance, and overall control throughout the fight.
Zurdo Ramirez can weather those storms without taking too much punishment and getting hit too much and keep that thing tight into the back half of the stretch. He's got a shot to try to implement his style, which is pressure and just that grinding presence. But he also can box when he wants to as well. And I want to see how much he boxes and how much he fights, because in our interview with him, it sounded like he want to do both all at the same time, and you can't do both all at the same time. You got to choose when to box and when to slug. And for David Benavidez, man, can he conquer another weight class? Can he go out there and become a 2-time cruiserweight champion and then a 5-time world champion on a Cinco de Mayo weekend just for one fight and one fight alone? That's the questions we have. So,
giving his prediction, Andre Ward slightly favors David Benavidez, seeing it as a 60-40 advantage in his favor. However, he still cautions that Zurdo Ramirez cannot be taken lightly. Ward also points out that Benavidez brings a style many opponents have failed to decode, with his relentless pressure and aggression creating constant problems. Because of that, Ward believes there is no clear formula yet for beating him, which makes this matchup especially intriguing.
I don't have a prediction, but I think it's going to be a great fight that I give David Benavidez a slight edge to, right? This is a 60-40 situation for me, maybe a little bit more in his favor, maybe 65-35, but that's just because he hasn't lost. We haven't seen that blueprint. And even if guys have good rounds, they don't have good fights against him. Ultimately, they wear down mentally, physically, emotionally, and David Benavidez takes over, and he ultimately stops guys or beats them up and gets his hand raised. Will that happen again against 2-time cruiserweight champion Zurdo Ramirez on Cinco de Mayo?
Prominent trainer Bredman Edwards has also shared his prediction, backing David Benavidez to come out on top. He points to Benavidez's hand speed as a major factor that could trouble Zurdo Ramirez throughout the fight. Edwards believes that advantage will allow Benavidez to gradually break him down down and pick him apart over time. While he is unsure if it ends in a knockout or stoppage, he is clear that Benavidez holds the edge for several key reasons.
25 pounds is a lot, and Benavidez wasn't really knocking out his light heavyweight opponents like that, but I expect him to win. I think he's special. Now, whether he scores a knockout or not, I don't know, but I expect him to win. Fighters like Benavidez, you're going to probably, I don't know if you're going to understand what I'm saying, but he probably will do better against a guy like Zurdo because the hand speed factor. A lot of times when you big like that, you don't adjust to the incoming shot, to the hand speed of the faster guy. So he'll be able to pick him apart. The question is, could he stop him?
For David Benavidez, the long-term goal is a massive showdown with either Canelo Alvarez or Dimitri Bivol, and many fans and analysts believe a win here is the gateway to those dream fights. Sean Zettel is confident that speed will be the biggest difference maker, saying Benavidez has some of the fastest hands in boxing. He believes that combined with his relentless pressure and high output will slowly wear Zurdo Ramirez down. Over time, that pace could completely take control of the fight.
Benavidez wins.
Yeah,
I think so. I think kind of like we were just talking about with Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios. I think it probably more competitive fight than that, but one guy's speed is just speed kills in this matchup, just like it did for Ryan and Barrios. And it's interesting. David for the first time is fighting someone bigger than he is, and I don't think Ramirez, he better not show up like he did for the Dorticos fight, his last fight, where he's very fleshy, soft around the midsection. He's got to come correct, and if he does, he'll provide some resistance. But Benavidez is one of the best fighters in the world, and I just think his speed will be too much. I'm interested to see how cruiser. He's talking about going right back down to 175 after this to get Bivol or Beterbiev, which is
that'd be a good motherfucker.
On the other hand, Malik Scott, who is part of Zurdo Ramirez's corner team, gave a very honest breakdown of the fight, acknowledging that David Benavidez is highly skilled and extremely dangerous at what he does. However, despite that respect, he still leans toward Ramirez to win when they finally meet in the ring. Scott believes Ramirez's discipline, timing, and ability to control the pace will be the key factors that separate them. He stressed that this is not just about power or pressure, but about staying composed under fire. In his view, experience and ring IQ at the highest level will ultimately decide the outcome of this matchup.
It's very dangerous, but Zurdo Ramirez is the best cruiserweight in the world, and this right here is going to be not only probably his toughest fight, but he's about to get defeated by Zurdo Ramirez.
What's the difference between the two of them? Why are you so confident Zurdo will handle the business of David Benavidez?
Well, Zurdo knows how to do everything. To me, David Benavidez is an incredible pound for pound, a ring pound for pound, but he's very good at doing what he's doing. I don't see nobody like making him have to adjust. Alex Goljevic, I believe I'm saying his last name right. He's the only one that fought him very well to me. Everybody else seemed to fight him a little bit, on his pace and let him do what he wanted.
With fight day approaching, the boxing world continues to debate the clash as Sebastian Fundora gives his prediction of David Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez. He slightly leans toward Benavidez, believing his all-around skill set could be the key difference. Fundora also reflects on Benavidez's performance against Anthony Yarde, highlighting the mix of power, speed, and relentless volume that has already proven effective at the elite level. He feels those same traits will once again be crucial and could dictate how the fight unfolds from start to finish.
You've sparred David Benavidez in the past. How do you think he'll do against Zurdo Ramirez?
I have David winning that fight. David's too fast, man. We saw in his last fight how he's way too fast for these light heavyweights, He's going up to cruiserweight.
With fight day approaching, the boxing community is weighing in as Sebastian Fundora breaks down David Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez. He leans toward Benavidez, saying his superior skill set will be the deciding factor. Fundora also recalls the fight with Anthony Yarde, pointing to Benavidez's power, speed, and volume as something the world has already witnessed, and believes it will play a major role again in this matchup. Fight with no clear favorite. She emphasized that in her eyes, the matchup is close and difficult to predict as both fighters bring strong attributes to the ring. Because of that balance, she admitted she is unsure about the final outcome. Gabriella believes it could come down to small details, timing, and who stays composed under pressure.
What about about the Benavidez versus Ramirez fight, Cinco de Mayo weekend?
That's exciting. That's gonna be very exciting. We got two warriors and that stepping into that ring, and I don't even know how that outcome's gonna be. This is gonna be good. I think it's gonna be really good.
Then comes Jesse Hart's prediction, where he breaks the fight down carefully, saying Zurdo Ramirez's power should not be underestimated at all. He acknowledges David Benavidez has the edge in volume punching and elite hand speed, which could help him control stretches of the fight. However, he warns that Ramirez's heavy, clean punching makes him dangerous at any moment. In his view, it comes down to whether Zurdo can absorb the volume or wear down by the 7th round, before potentially using momentum to overcome Benavidez's pace.
This fight is going to come down to who wants it more. I think Benavidez has the edge in hand speed and letting his hands go, but power. Don't sleep on Gilberto Ramirez. Power. That boy can punch. That guy can really punch. I'm not saying that Benavidez can't take it. I'm saying that he can punch, and that's something to look out for. I believe that Benavidez's speed, his hand speed, and how many punches he throws is going to be the difference in this fight. You know, he's not a hard puncher, he's a volume puncher. That's what we don't know about David Benavidez. He's not a really, really hard, but he beats you up. He beats you up, and the punches do sting, and they wear you down. I'm curious to see how Zurdo Ramirez is going to handle that. Is he going to get wore down by the 6th or the 7th, by the volume and the pace? Or is he going to be able to sustain his own momentum with his own pace and put the power on Benavidez to hurt him?
Explaining his stance, Jesse believes Zurdo Ramirez can cause real problems for Benavidez if he maintains his pace and builds momentum throughout the fight. He feels that sustained pressure and consistency could allow Zurdo to land meaningful shots and turn the tide. Jesse also points out that the weight difference is a major factor and could become a real hurdle for Benavidez as the rounds go on, especially if Ramirez's strength carries late into the contest.
This is cruiserweight. I want to see, can he hurt Benavidez? I have yet to see Benavidez hurt, except for when he fought the guy from
Ronald Garfield. He was kind of a baby back then.
He was kind of a kid. He was kind of a kid. He was kind of a kid. But I want to see if the weight is going to be a much factor on Benavidez because of the size of Zurdo Ramirez. Zurdo Ramirez is a very, very big guy. And such as David Benavidez, I just want to see, this is body for body, tail for tail. This is evened up to me. As far as the mass, as far as the weight, as far as Gilberto is coming forward too. We saw that with Bivol. He's still in the ad that stuff, but again, he's southpaw. I'm curious to see how Benavidez is going to deal with a big southpaw. He dealt with a little southpaw in Demetrius Andrade, but now I'm curious to see how he deals with Zurdo Ramirez southpaw side.
The biggest concern for many is Benavidez moving up to cruiserweight, but Sean Zettel believes the advantages still lean his way. He points out that Benavidez being younger than Zurdo gives him an edge in output, volume, and overall punch activity. Since he is still in his prime, Zettel feels he can control the pace more effectively. He also notes Zurdo has admitted he only has a couple of fights left, which may affect his urgency, making this feel like a convincing win for Benavidez.
Literally on the court, on the field, in the ring. And that's David Benavidez right now. He has that edge, and he's still a relatively young man. He's 29, he's not a kid anymore. He's about to be 30 years old, but he's at the prime, and I believe the peak of his powers right now. And conversely, with Gilberto Ramirez, I already had that point about Benavidez's edge coming into this. I check out a quick interview, a clip from an interview from our guy Marcos Villegas on Fight Hub, and Ramirez reveals he feels 2 fights left in his career. So, and he's a little bit older than David Benavidez. So I think on the other side, Ramirez, maybe in the back of his mind, of course he's showing up to win as a champion, as a 3-time world champion, but maybe in the back of his mind, knowing from their sparring sessions, knowing he's a couple years older, that this could very well be Benavidez's fight.
And with so many voices split on the outcome, one thing is clear: this fight has all the ingredients of a classic. Will Benavidez's speed and pressure take over, or can Zurdo's power flip the script when it matters most? Drop your prediction in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more big fight breakdowns and predictions like this.